Hare Krishna. We continue reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is. We are on chapter 8, Attaining the Supreme. Text 2. Adiyagya katham kotra dehesmin madhusudana prayana kale cha katham geyosi niyatatmabhihi. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Who is the Lord of Sacrifice and how does He live in the body, O Madhusudana? And how can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death? So Arjuna has been putting some questions to Krishna. And in this verse, he's asking, who is the Lord of sacrifice? Means for who all the sacrifices are meant, for whose satisfaction? How does he live? How can a devotee know God at the time of death? And Arjuna is calling Krishna Madhusudan. Madhu is a demon. Krishna killed a demon called Madhu. That's why he's called Madhusudana. So Arjuna wants Krishna to kill the demons of doubts in his heart. So Lord of Sacrifice may refer to either Indra or Vishnu. Vishnu is the chief of the primal demigods, including Brahma and Shiva, and Indra is the chief of the administrative demigods. Both Indra and Vishnu are worshipped by yajna performances. But here Arjuna asks, who is actually the Lord of yajna, sacrifice, and how the Lord is residing within the body of the living entity. So Lord Indra is the chief of the demigods, the administrative demigods. There are 33 crore demigods. Out of them, the chief is Lord Indra. So, in the administrators, Indra is the chief. Then they are the demigods who are under control of the modes of nature. That is Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu is not a demigod, he's Krishna himself. So, but Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva are demigods. So here Arjuna is asking, who is the Lord of sacrifice? So the sacrifices are done to satisfy the demigods, and the sacrifices are done to satisfy Lord Vishnu. So what happens is when the fire is lit, that's called the mouth of Lord Vishnu. And only after the Supreme Lord Vishnu has taken his share of the sacrifice, do all the other demigods take their share. They don't take their share before them. First, Lord Vishnu has to take his share of sacrifice. So all sacrifices are meant for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna. In this age of Kali, the sacrifice that is recommended in this age of Kali is the sacrifice of chanting the holy names, chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, Sankirtan Yajna. That is the Yajna for this age of Kali. By chanting the holy name, that is the way we are satisfying the Supreme Lord Krishna. We are serving the Supreme Lord Krishna when we are chanting the holy names. So Arjuna addressed the Lord as Madhusudan because Krishna once killed a demon named Madhu. Actually, these questions, which are of the nature of doubts, should not have arisen in the mind of Arjuna, because Arjuna is a Krishna conscious devotee. Therefore, these doubts are like demons. Since Krishna is so expert in killing demons, Arjuna here addresses him as Madhusudana, so that Krishna might kill the demoniac doubts that arise in Arjuna's mind. Now, the word prayana kale in this verse is very significant because whatever we do in life will be tested at the time of death. The time of death is called moment of truth. How we have lived our life is going to be tested at the time of death. Arjuna is very anxious to know of those who are constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness. What should be their position at that final moment? So Arjuna is saying one who is a pure devotee, then what happens to him at the point of death? We have been reading in Srimad Bhagavatam recently, the non-devotee. The non-devotee, what happens to him at the time of death? The Yamadutas are standing there, and with fear and with terror, he's pulled out of the body. So Arjuna is asking what happens to the devotee. So what should be their position at the final moment? At the time of death, all the bodily functions are disrupted and the mind is not in a proper condition. The throat is filled with mucus, not able to talk. And that's the reason Maharaj Kulashekar, in his prayers, he says a verse that, my dear Lord, let me die immediately. Right now, I'm able to fix my mind at your lotus feet. I'm able to chant your names. So let me die immediately. Because if I wait for death to come, my voice may be choked with mucus and I may not be able to say your name. So this is Maharaj Kulashekar's prayer. It's a very famous prayer. That let me die now, Krishna. Now when I'm able to remember you, when I'm able to say your name. And in this way, let me come back to you. At the time of death, we were reading in Bhagavatam how the body is not functioning. There's chaos in the mind. There's mucus in the chest, not able to breathe properly. The mind is not able to think properly. Thus, disturbed by the bodily situation, one may not be able to remember the Supreme Lord. I hear Prabhupada mentions Maharaj Kulashekar, a great devotee, prays, my dear Lord, just now I am quite healthy, and it is better that I die immediately so that the swan of my mind can seek entrance at the stem of your lotus feet. So it's a very good analogy, very beautiful analogy. The swans, they are swimming in the lake, and what they're doing is where they're putting the beak always in the stem of the lotus flowers. The stem, the swan, the beak is getting entangled in the stem of the lotus flower. And so this metaphor is used because the swan, a bird of the water, takes pleasure in digging into the lotus flowers. Its sporting proclivity is to enter the lotus flower. Maharaj Kulashekar says to the Lord, now my mind is undisturbed and I'm quite healthy. If I die immediately, thinking of your lotus feet, then I'm sure that my performance of your devotional service will become perfect. But if I have to wait for my natural death, then I do not know what will happen, because at that time the bodily functions will be disrupted. My throat will be choked up, and I do not know whether I shall be able to chant your name. Better let me die immediately. Arjuna questions how a person can fix his mind on Krishna's lotus feet at such a time. So this is Maharaj Kulashekar's beautiful prayer. He's saying, my dear Lord, right now I'm in healthy mind. I'm able to think properly. I'm able to speak properly. Let me fix my mind at your lotus feet. Let me chant your name and let me die in this position. And in this way, let me come back to you. Let me have the perfection of devotional service. Because after all, that is what the devotee wants. He wants to die in perfect Krishna consciousness. Because Krishna says, whatever consciousness you die, at the next, then your next destination is there. So the devotee knows if he dies with his mind fixed on Krishna, then he will go back to the spiritual world to be with Krishna. And that is the perfect position. That is the original position of every living entity, to be in the spiritual world. We living entities are not meant to be here in the material world. Our home is in the spiritual world. And the easiest way that we can go there is when we surrender to Krishna. So Arjuna is asking how a person can fix his mind on Krishna's lotus feet at the time of death. And Krishna will reply to Arjuna's questions. So we'll stop here for today. I don't know if there's any question or comment. No,
No
thank you so
questions.
much for. Yes, please.
Yeah, no questions, no questions.
Okay.
It's only a comment like if we repeat Krishna name continuously, it will be inside our mind every time. Even we have the situation of death, that time also we remember Krishna, right?
Jai. That's right. Yes, that's
So,
right. That's why we practice chanting Krishna's name while we are living. We hear his
yes,
names, we chant his name, we hear about Krishna from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, so that at the time of death we can remember him. Thank you. Yes.
yes. Thank you.
Yes. Thank
Yes.
you. Practice
Hare
makes
Krishna.
perfect. So many people say,
Yes,
it's okay, I don't need to practice. When I die, I will think of Krishna. But
yes, yes.
when we die, the mind is in a confused state. The voice is choked. And if we have not practiced chanting Krishna's name, we will not be able to. We will not be able to.
Remember.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, we need to practice.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so
Thank you.
much. Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.